Hello everyone and welcome to a new vlog. I am so excited because today I'm going to be talking about some festivals and activities that I think would make great family traditions for the autumn season. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah and I have a 21-month-old daughter at home. And since becoming a mom, I've really become interested in creating family traditions and finding ways to really celebrate the seasons and make them special for our family. And the fall and Halloween season has always been my favorite. I've been especially interested in the history of Halloween and of harvest season, and I thought it would be nice to find ways to incorporate those old traditions into our life now and celebrate that together with my family. So the festivals and activities that I'm going to be talking about today are based on the Waldorf tradition, and what I really like about them is that they're just really simple and cozy and they don't feel overly commercialized. And they're really cool because they have elements that pay homage to the way things were celebrated in early Europe when it was still pagan, as well as elements from when Christianity took over and transformed those celebrations. And along that note, I do want to say that as I've been learning more about Waldorf and reading some of the older texts, I have noticed that a lot of the festivals and celebrations and teachings do have a little bit of a religious undertone in them. And this is definitely something you will notice about some of the celebrations I'll be discussing today. However, I'm actually not religious at all. I grew up Catholic and I studied religion in college because I was very interested in it. So I find these things fascinating from a historical perspective, and I think it is cool to learn how to incorporate these things into our life in a secular way if you are not a religious person. And that's how I'll be presenting all the activities and celebrations today. However, if you are someone who is religious, feel free to incorporate that into your family traditions. And I apologize, my throat is so scratchy. I've just gotten over a cold and it is just lingering. At least I think it's a cold. I also have really bad seasonal allergies, and oftentimes my husband and I can't tell if we have a cold or just an allergy flare-up, but nonetheless, I apologize for my scratchy voice. Okay, so the first festival that I would like to talk about is Michaelmas, and this is celebrated on September 29th, and it is the feast day of Saint Michael the Archangel, and also known as the Festival of Courage. So if you don't know the story of Saint Michael, he was the archangel who defeated Satan and cast him out of heaven. And in the story, Satan is presented as a dragon with multiple heads. And during Michaelmas, people also think about Saint George and the dragon. And this is a very similar story. And Saint George is supposed to be, I guess, the earthly counterpart to Saint Michael, which I don't really understand because these are two completely different stories. But there was dragons that were terrorizing a town and Saint George defeated the dragon. So with this in mind, Michaelmas is seen as a day of courage, a day of defeating our inner dragons and gaining inner strength. And also because of the time of the year that Michaelmas is celebrated, it is also associated with the autumn equinox and the harvest season. And in early Europe, when it was still pagan, there were lots of harvest festivals dedicated to different harvest deities. And once Christianity spread across Europe, these festivals kind of got combined and transformed into Michaelmas. So Michaelmas is also seen as a day to celebrate the harvest and also to prepare and gain inner strength for the upcoming harsh winters. Okay, so now that I've talked a little bit about the history of Michaelmas, let's talk about the way that it is celebrated in school settings and how we might be able to incorporate some of that into our own homes with our families. As I mentioned before, this is also called the Festival of Courage, and a lot of times schools will put on these cute plays of St. George defeating the dragon, which is really cool. They'll play games that promote strength and courage. They'll read stories about slaying dragons and bravery, and they'll also have harvest meals, which I thought was really nice. And there are so many fun ways that we can celebrate this in our own homes. And the first thing that I thought was really cool was baking your own dragon-shaped bread. And I've seen so many recipes and tutorials for this online. I'll link some below. I'm sure that if I tried to do this, that my bread would not end up looking like a dragon at the end, but people are so creative and I think this would be such a fun activity to do with kids. My daughter's, like I said, she's very little still, but she really enjoys helping me in the kitchen, so I can just imagine how excited she'd be if I told her we were making a dragon-shaped bread, and it doesn't actually matter what it comes out looking like at the end. Another thing that I would like to incorporate into our household is to getting a few books focused on bravery, slaying dragons, or even a St. Michael or St. George book to read as just sort of a fun story. And I found so many books that were recommended for celebrating Michaelmas. I wrote down a few of them, The Reluctant Dragon, Lottie St. Michael and the Lonely Dragon, and The Most Beautiful Dragon in the Entire World. And I will link these as well as others that I find down below in the description if anyone is looking to expand their library at home. Another idea for celebrating Michaelmas in your home is to create a fall nature table. And this might be something that you already do in your house. In our house, we don't have a specific table, but I've dedicated a few shelves on the bookshelf in my daughter's room where we just collect different things outside and place them there on display. I have some pumpkins, some pressed leaves, I think a pine cone and some acorns. So if this is something that you don't do yet, I highly recommend it. It's really fun. You can also add some toy dragons or knights to it as well in honor of Michaelmas. I think that would be really cute and kind of a fun little visual representation of the holiday. And finally, as I said before, Michaelmas is also about harvest season. So having a harvest themed meal at home is a really nice way to celebrate it. And this can be something that you do with just your immediate little family, or you can invite extended family and friends over and make it a bigger thing. My cat's right here. You can of course serve the dragon bread that you made in the morning and keep it simple and have something like butternut squash soup, hot apple cider, sweet potato chili. That's really good. Just think warm, cozy fall meals. And maybe even have a little bonfire outside. That would be really fun. A nice way to celebrate the change in seasons and upcoming transition into winter. Okay, so the next holiday that I wanted to talk about is Halloween. Halloween is my favorite holiday. I am so excited for it. And this is something that's celebrated differently by so many different families. Personally, I really love the idea of trick-or-treating. I think it's really fun and I've had so many great memories growing up. I think back, I guess it's just, I have a lot of nostalgia surrounding Halloween, and I'm really excited to create memories like that for my kids. However, I recently learned about one Waldorf tradition that I would really like to incorporate into how we celebrate Halloween, and that is called the Switch Witch. So after you go trick-or-treating, you come home and you have previously agreed upon a certain amount of candy that your kids can keep. And so that allows them to keep all their favorite pieces. And then any candy beyond this is put back into a container and then placed somewhere special, whether that be on the front porch, a windowsill, kitchen counter, wherever you decide. And then in the middle of the night, the Switch Witch comes and she takes the candy and she uses it to build her castle, and she replaces it with a small toy instead. And I just want to say, I don't have a issue with my daughter having some candy around Halloween. Like, if she's eating healthy 95% of the time, I don't have an issue with candy at all. But oftentimes we find ourselves inundated with an insane amount of candy. So this is just a really nice way to make sure that too much doesn't build up in your house if you don't want it. And I like this if it stays simple. I want the Switch Witch gift to be a very simple gift, nothing very expensive, not a lot of things, just really simple. And I think it's just kind of a nice, exciting thing. It also makes the day after Halloween feel a little bit more exciting as well. And the kids still get to keep their candy. So I actually can show you what the Switch Witch brought this year for our this is actually the first time we're taking our daughter out trick-or-treating. We always have a Halloween party at our house where we pass out candy because we get so many kids, and we just sit on the porch and have family over, and it's really nice. But this year we're gonna take our daughter just to a few houses up and down the street. She's still very young, so she won't quite understand anyways, but sorry, Noons. So I got this little board book. I've been wanting to get this for her. It's called My First Root Children, and it's just a smaller version of the Root Children book. But it's very cute. It is a story about the seasons, and it's very beautiful, simple pictures, which I love. And then I got her this tiny little mushroom kaleidoscope. This was just a few dollars. And I think she might actually really like it, because lately she's been playing with her eyes and like doing funny things like that. So I think she will find this amusing. And then lastly, I got her just a little magical wand looking thing. And I ordered these off of Bella Luna Toys, which is a more expensive website, but these items specifically were pretty inexpensive, and they seem like they're really nice quality as well. So I'm excited to gift these to her. But yeah, like I really like this idea. I think it is really magical. However, it can become overly burdensome and expensive if you let it. So that's completely up to you. I just prefer to keep it simple and not super commercialized. So the last celebration that I wanted to talk about is called Martinmas, and this is celebrated on November 11th, and it is the feast day of St. Martin de Tours. And an interesting fact that I learned is that it is also called Old Halloween or Old Hallowmas Eve, which is interesting. I don't know why. So according to legend, St. Martin was a Roman soldier who was walking on a cold night and came across an old poor beggar man who was freezing. And so St. Martin was wearing a red military cloak, and he cut half of it off and gave it to this man. And so the focus of this festival is kindness and hope and bringing light into the world. So I think a nice way to start a Martinmas celebration would be to start reading some stories and singing songs about St. Martin to kind of introduce who he was, what he did. There are so many books that I found. I will link them below in case you want to check them out. Some that looked really cute were Snow on Martinmas by Heather Lightholm, Ella's Nightlights by Lucy Fleming, and The Lightbringers by Karen Celestine. One of the ways that Martinmas is traditionally celebrated around the world is by creating lanterns and then going for a lantern walk at night. And I think this is such a cute and fun tradition. As you can imagine, these lanterns traditionally were made out of pumpkins and gourds and turnips that were carved, which is a really cool idea if you want to go that route. However, a lot of people now I've seen make them with mason jars, and they'll take I don't know if it's kite paper or what is it called? Tissue paper. They will take tissue paper and Mod Podge and make designs on their lanterns, and they're really beautiful. And you could put a little electric candle in there, and if you don't have a mason jar that has the handles, you can use a pipe cleaner and fasten it around the top and create like a little handle. There are so many tutorials for this online. I will link a few that I found really helpful below in case this is something you would like to try. There's definitely plenty of time to prepare for this. I was a little bit late on the Michaelmas, and I did not celebrate it myself this year, but next year we will do that. So once it's dark outside, you could take your lanterns and go for a little walk around your town, or if you're feeling brave, maybe in the woods if you live in a forested area. And you can go with just your family, or you can make it like a extended family and friends event. I think that'd be really fun to have a bunch of people with little lanterns walking around. It would just feel extra special. I'm gonna see if any of the families that I'm friends with would like to do this. Have like a little craft day where we make the lanterns and then go out at night for a walk around the town with them. I think it's just a really cute thing and be a really fun experience for kids, I think. Something very memorable. And then you come back home and you have a warm and cozy treat. You can have like hot apple cider. There are special cookies that people will make for Martinmas. I believe they kind of look like moon shaped. I will link them below, or I think they're moon shaped. Or you can have something just harvest themed like pumpkin bread or gingerbread cookies. Something cozy and delicious to warm you up after being outside on your walk. And finally, seeing as one of the themes of Martinmas is helping others that are in need, making this a time where your family is able to donate gently used jackets, hats, gloves, or even if you can go and buy a few pairs of warm socks and donate them to a local homeless shelter. I think that would be a very nice thing to do and a great thing to teach your kids. So those were the 3 festivals that I wanted to talk about. And now I wanted to discuss just some little simple things that you can do around your house to really make it feel special and help your kids feel more connected to the fall season. And some of these things would be really great for your kids to be involved in if you have maybe a little bit older kids than I do, they might actually be able to do the crafts along with you. This year I've just been doing the crafts by myself, and I use them as decorations around the house because I really like doing the little kid crafts. And I still think it's nice for my daughter to be able to see the decorations. I think she finds a lot of joy in it. But the first thing is using kite paper to make transparent decorations for your windows. This is something you'll have seen if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, or I've just watched my reels on YouTube. But I have so much fun with kite paper. I start the season off in like September by making more just general fall themed decorations. So I will just do, I think I just did leaves this year. And I will share videos of this in here. Leaves, and then as the season progresses and we get closer to Halloween, I add pumpkins and ghosts and bats. I use the tutorials off of Bella Luna Toys' website. I will link those below. However, I don't know if it's just me, but I find them very hard to follow. I still have not been able to figure out how to make the bat, and I cannot find another tutorial anywhere online. So once I figure that out, I do plan to make an actual instruction video where I slowly show you guys how I do the folds. I am not an expert by any means, and I'm not particularly artistically talented, but I think it might be helpful to see it done in slow motion, and maybe I could describe it more so people who have trouble following the written text might find that easier. I don't know. Let me know below if that's something you're interested in. But anyways, that is such a fun activity to do by yourself, to decorate for your kids, or to have your kids help you with. And the next thing is creating a fall-based nature table, which I talked a little bit about before, but this is something you can do all year round. You have your little nature table or just nature area in your house where you put little things from the season that you're in on display that the kids find when you guys are out and about outside. Like I said, we have been putting acorns and pine cones and leaves on our table. We also have a fall colored play silk out there just to kind of make it extra pretty. So you can do that. You can decorate your little table space with yellow, orange, red silk. You can press the leaves so they stay longer, or if you're really crafty, you can get beeswax and dip them into the beeswax, and that preserves them for much longer. I have not done that yet. It sounds really cool, but I need to buy like little beeswax pellets in order to do that. And the last activity that I think is so important to do in the fall season is to decorate your home together with your kids. Oh, we got a sad baby.
Coffee.
That's Mama's tea. I have a baby here with me now. What? Oh yeah, I was talking about decorating for fall. Decorating for the fall season, whether that be just general fall decor or getting into spooky Halloween decor. But I think it's so important to do that as a family and to bring out the same decorations every year and talk about what those decorations mean to you and why you like them. I just think that's such a fun thing to do with your kids, and maybe I'm just weird, but I have a lot of good memories of decorating with my family from when I was little, and I want to create those memories for my daughter as well. And I think that it's really nice to have decorations that you really love and that you put out year after year instead of just continuously buying more and more new things. Yeah, having the same cozy decorations that you really like, so that they're kind of like in your family and your kids remember them and have like an attachment to them. I think that's really nice. And just like with the kite paper, like making decorations is also nice. It's a really fun activity to do together with your family or by yourself at night while you're relaxing and watching your favorite Halloween movies. That's what I like to do. But yeah, there's a lot of... Sorry. You want to read the caterpillar book? Okay. I can read the caterpillar book. There are so many fun ways to celebrate the fall season, and I think it's so fun to help your kids to learn about the different seasons and to really feel connected to them and make the different seasons feel special, because life is so boring if we just act like every day is the same, but learning to celebrate all the changes is really fun. Makes it exciting and gives you something to look forward to and creates a lot of fun memories for your family. So yeah, that I think that covers everything. If there's probably so many other fun things that you can celebrate during the season, especially within the Waldorf tradition. I am no Waldorf expert by any means. So if there's anything that I've left out that you think would be really fun to do with your family, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. I love getting comments and being able to chat with you. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your fall season, and let me know if you plan to celebrate Martinmas and make some fun lanterns for a lantern walk. Okay, Luna and I are gonna read The Very Hungry Caterpillars, Creepy Crawly Halloween, and we will see you guys again in the next video. Okay, bye.